Welcome to the Baraza. Here we demystify the miseducation of Africa and Africans by tracing our roots, values, and dissect our social issues. Let's talk. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a tale of global economics that's sure to warm the cockles of your heart, or maybe just leave you feeling a bit nauseous. Welcome to Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins, a heartwarming story of how the rich get richer and the poor get, well, you know the drill. Today, we're shining a spotlight on Africa, that continent bursting with resources and potential, yet somehow always finding itself at the bottom of the global economic food chain. It's almost as if someone's been playing a twisted game of Monopoly with an entire continent. Spoiler alert, it's not Parker Brothers, but a star-studded cast of global financial institutions and corporations. Enter the Economic Hitmen, or EHMs, the unsung heroes of capitalist exploitation. These fine folks have a simple job: convince developing countries to take out loans they can't afford for projects they don't need. It's like convincing your broke friend to finance a Ferrari when they can barely afford a bicycle. What could possibly go wrong? But wait, there's more. Let's meet our ensemble cast of financial supervillains. 1. The World Bank. Imagine a bank that's supposed to end poverty, but instead seems to have a knack for creating more of it. In the book, Perkins describes how the World Bank pushed for massive infrastructure projects in Ecuador, leaving the country drowning in debt, while multinational corporations reaped the benefits. It's like giving someone a life jacket made of lead. Technically assistance, but not exactly helpful. 2. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, the financial world's favorite loan shark. When countries are down on their luck, the IMF swoops in with loans that come with more strings attached than a marionette. Perkins details how the IMF's structural adjustment programs in Tanzania forced the country to cut social services and privatize industries, leaving the population worse off than before. But hey, at least their balance sheets looked good. 3. The World Trade Organization, WTO. The referee in the global economic game, who seems to have a curious habit of always calling fouls on the underdogs. Perkins doesn't focus much on the WTO, but its policies often align with the H.H.N. playbook, pushing for trade liberalization that benefits multinational corporations at the expense of local industries in developing countries. 4. The United Nations, UN. The world's moral compass, that sometimes seems to point straight to the nearest oil field. While the UN isn't a major focus in Perkins' book, its peacekeeping missions have occasionally been used as cover for economic exploitation. It's like hiring a security guard who moonlights as a cat burglar. 5. Vanguard and BlackRock, the new kids on the block in our epic tale of economic domination. These investment giants, while not explicitly mentioned in Perkins' original book, have become major players in the global financial system. With their massive holdings in multinational corporations, they benefit indirectly from the exploitation of developing countries. It's like being the silent partner in a global Ponzi scheme. Now let's take a whirlwind tour of some of Africa's luckiest winners in this economic lottery. 1. The Republic of Congo. Oil, timber, and a dictator walk into a bar. The punchline: a country drowning in debt while foreign companies make off with the resources. But hey, at least they got some nice roads to nowhere. 2. Nigeria, the most populous nation in Africa, blessed with oil and cursed with, well, oil. Multinational companies swooped in like vultures at a buffet, leaving behind a trail of corruption and poverty. But don't worry, I'm sure all that oil wealth is trickling down any day now. 3. Kenya, home of the world's most expensive railway to nowhere. Sure, it displaced communities and ravaged the environment, but think of all the debt they accumulated. That's got to count for something, right? 4. Mozambique. Who knew maritime security could be so profitable? Certainly not the Mozambican people, who are still waiting for those patrol boats to materialize from the sea of corruption. 5. Angola, where the former president's family shopped till they dropped while the rest of the country dropped into poverty. Talk about family values. 6. South Africa, proof that even the Rainbow Nation isn't immune to the allure of good old-fashioned corruption. The Guptas and Zuma put on a masterclass in how to loot a country while smiling for the cameras. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds terribly unfair and exploitative. Well, give yourself a gold star for basic human decency. The real question is, what are we going to do about it? Take a moment to like and subscribe, as we journey across the continent on a quest to not only change Africa's narrative, but also educate and entertain. John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman isn't just a bedtime story to give economists nightmares. It's a wake-up call, a slap in the face with a financial statement. The exploitation of Africa by these economic vampires, from EHMs to global financial institutions to investment giants, is nothing short of economic warfare, leaving a trail of poverty, debt, and broken dreams in its wake. So, what's the moral of this not-so-fairy tale? Perhaps it's time we all became economic Robin Hoods, fighting for a global economy that doesn't treat entire continents like piggy banks to be smashed open. It's time to hold these modern-day pirates accountable and work towards an economic system that doesn't require a user manual written by Machiavelli. Remember, folks, Africa's resources should benefit its people, not line the pockets of foreign corporations, corrupt elites, or faceless financial institutions. It's not rocket science, it's just basic human decency. And if we can't manage that, well, maybe we should all go back to trading seashells and coconuts. This has been your comedic yet depressing tour of economic exploitation in Africa. Don't forget to tip your waiter, and maybe consider tipping the scales of global justice while you're at it. Just don't expect the World Bank to fund that particular project. Thank you for watching. Join us next week for another demystifying journey.